You never should know that. You never should know that. Just in my head, I see red, I see blue. I'm losing control, I can feel my heartbeat fast. I gripped hold of you and I couldn't let go. You told me I love you, but I guess it wasn't true. Hard to say when all is gone now. I will pray every day for all to come back. I look too gray, but in your eyes I can see more. Guess you won't be the one to save me this time. I was careless, you know how weak I am. This feeling won't leave me, my heart is on fire. I wasn't protected, I'll let you see all of me. I want another life, I wanna start it all again. Hard to say when all is gone now. I will pray every day for all to come back. I look too gray, but in your eyes I can see more. Guess you won't be the one to save me this time. Hard to say when all is gone now. I will pray every day for all to come back. I look too gray, but in your eyes I can see more. Guess you won't be the one to save me this time. It goes and it comes down, see my place. Harder than a goodbye, well this one's forever. My destiny was all made, but where do I belong? The injury is deep as the ocean. La 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 la. It goes and it comes down, see my place. Harder than a goodbye, well this one's forever. My destiny was all made, but where do I belong? The injury is deep as the ocean.
Dream in flash of my success, 'cause only though I can control them. Don't know what happened to me lately, but everyone is doing better, looking effortless. I lost my focus in someone's problems, but took my armor up to stab me in the back. I let him do that, I let him stay inside my photos, makeup condoms, copy isn't just a dress-up habit feature that I don't like. And every single time it's me I blame for never seeing that. I find the biggest disappointment in myself. I'm tired of bouncing back from things that never would have touched me if I noticed all the lies I earned. Never mirror reality. I train my focus for your emotions to feel a little more than I'm used to. 'Cause I wanna be the one, but I never go too far. Posting photos, makeup cons, copy mag. up every feature that I don't like. And every single time it's me I blame for never seeing that. Find the biggest disappointment in myself. And the ghost of my ambitions, every line I've never read resonates inside my mind like a wanderer lost between the sirens that I never said, explanations out of self, questions I'm afraid to ask, and just a beat of a broken heart. I promise I know the will not last. Posting photos, makeup corners, copy mechanism just to dress up every feature that I don't like. And every single time it's me I blame for never seeing that. Find the biggest disappointment in myself. You never should have known that. You never should have known that.
Double the failure! Double the fun! Success! Watch out! Turret's armed! Heavy weapons. I'm in love. Flush the other flank out! Denizens of the deep! Typical air breather. Maximum pulse! I am Groot! I am Groot! We are Groot!
To all our new guests from across the timelines, I welcome you to the Hellfire Gala. Welcome one and all to Krakoa. This living island may be a sovereign mutant nation, but tonight, our home is yours. Honored guests, I propose a toast to Krakoa. Here, there are no rivals. Man and mutant
will be exterminated. You all belong to history.
To me, my X-Men! This is a fight for our survival!
Then try to stay alive just long enough to see my way as the Age of Ultron begins.
The White Queen's reign begins. You deserved that, dear. Mind Crush! You were beneath me. Impervious! Pathetic! How embarrassing! Kneel, peasants! That's White Queen mind control.
Welcome back, everybody. Nandito na tayo sa Project 160. We're gonna be your shoutcasters for today, and this is gonna be an interesting matchup. Infinity, I'm excited to watch and cast some Marvel Rivals.
I echo the sentiment. This will be our first time actually casting Marvel Rivals as well and jumping into ship here. We have a lot of teams coming down today for the semifinals for the Marvel Rivals League. And of course, thank you very much to CLX for actually making this tournament possible.
Yeah, thank you very much to CLX, and thank you very much to everybody back there in the production for making this possible. Really excited to watch and see how these teams are going to be performing. I think everybody has already seen who the teams are that are going to be playing in this tournament so far. They are very familiar names here for everybody who watches Marvel Rivals, because in the PH, not recently, it was last year, the last time that we've seen these two teams, Thunder Defiant and Agamomo, they were in one tournament before, and it was a fun watch.
Yeah, it was an absolute blast to watch these two teams. They were able to really just battle it out in Marvel Rivals overall. But aside from those two teams, we also have Rec Genesis and the Emerald Snappers here for the semi-finals. And as we saw from the prior tournament, I believe this would also be awesome. It will be a blast, especially considering that these teams are expectedly going to match in probably the new patch.
Yeah, the new patch is brutal. It's big. The patch is really big, and there's a lot of things that you have to know about this new patch. So we're just gonna be going through it later, everyone, while we are actually in the game. So we're gonna be going through it while we're in the game, and also on the picks and bans that we're gonna be having. And considering that we also have two new maps ever since the new one, they're not gonna be available in this game, and we're not gonna be seeing Emma Frost in our tournament. So that is a relief, because everybody's still finding out how she works.
Yeah, for sure. Coming into this, a new hero. I mean, we saw a couple of trailers moving here and forth, and a lot of these players, a lot of the community as well, is figuring things out on how Emma Frost would be affecting how competitive works in Marvel Rivals as well. But as you have mentioned, it will be banned away, so it will not be seen here today. But I'm seeing a lot of these players, or well, the community, actually having that favor onto Emma Frost as well. So expectedly, maybe down the road, we can see some of that Emma Frost action.
Yeah, and I would love to talk about these players, though. Agamomo and Tonda Defiant. We can't say where these guys came from, but one Agamomo came from a, what do you call that genre? Tactical FPS. They play FPS, these guys. And the other team, Tonda Defiant, already plays a hero shooter. So this is a very different playstyle that we're going to be seeing. I would love to see the upgrade that the teams had, especially Agamomo, because the last time that they met, Tonda Defiant just won against them. So it's
100%.
been months. It's been months ever since. So maybe Agamomo just upgraded.
Yeah, there's a lot of opportunity to practice. There's a lot of opportunity to explore in Marvel Rivals as well. How this sync, how the combos would work as well, and individual mechanical prowess to be kind of improved along the way. And I think coming down to it, right, a lot of history, a lot of experience in
Yep.
terms of competitive scene, maybe in other titles as well, as you have mentioned, for the likes of Agamotto. So they definitely do have that aim. They definitely do have that power to compete. But
Yep.
with the likes of Tom the Defiant on having experience with hero shooters, would there be a massive difference
Ooh.
as we are close or jumping into game number 1?
And remember, this game is going to be a best of 5. So looking at it, we have a first ever map veto for Marvel Rivals that we're going to be seeing. Thank you very much to production. This is very well appreciated that we have a map veto for Marvel Rivals. And we're going to be seeing the teams pick who they want, what they want, and what maps they're going to be banning in this tournament so far. So it's going to be Convoy. If you don't know what Convoy is, this is the 3 checkpoint map. You start off with a push here. Domination is going to be the capture the point. Convergence is going to be you capture the point first, then you push the, I don't want to say the word because it's from a different game. You push the whatever the objective is in
Yeah, for sure.
Convergence too.
I think it's more of like a hybrid of both Convoy and Domination.
Yeah, it's hybrid.
overall
Yeah, that's a good
convergence, yeah?
that's a good term.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It converges the two different game
Yeah.
modes, if you may.
Yes. No? Yeah, okay, sure. Okay, I'll agree with you for that. Yeah.
Hybrid, yeah.
Yeah, but we're still waiting for them to pick out the maps because I want to see what maps they're going to be picking. Because remember, there's 9 maps that we do have. We have 3 for each kind, for each kind here. So what is your favorite map, Infinity? I just want to ask you, what's your favorite map? If you don't know the name, just describe it to me. I will know.
It's I believe it's called Tokyo. What was it?
Oh, it's a Tokyo 2099 map.
Yeah. Because it just feels
what
Japan.
part there? There's 2. There's 2. The one in the city and the one in the islands. Yeah, like that one in Convoy. That is one. That is that is a Tokyo 2099 map, and that is banned.
Let's go to city. I like
Okay,
the city.
sure.
Yeah.
Oh, and that is picked. Sorry, sorry everyone.
Not
That
bad.
is picked. So
Yeah.
having Spider Islands, one of my favorite maps, because if you're gonna ask me, that's my favorite map. That is the map that I always want to get picked, especially when I play ranked games, because it's the most fun map ever in this game
Yeah.
so far.
And I feel like there's just a lot of these maps, and there's just a lot of different aspects to it as well, which is really, really exciting, really kind of exhilarating to come through, especially in the ranked games. But we have a ban coming through. It's our very first ban for the map Vito. I believe it's Midtown ban.
Interesting.
for
They don't
Convoy.
want. This is a very new map. That's why I think at this point it's still very new to the players because it's still just been that started in season 1 if I remember correctly. So this map has been here for like 3 months, just 3 months. But so this is still very new to a lot of teams. That's why they wanted to go for that ban there. But I want to see what domination map they would want to go for because there's a lot of choices. But if you're gonna ask me where I want to go, it's gonna be Royal Palace. I want it to be Royal Palace.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and there's just varied different maps as well into consideration here for domination, and then yeah.
I just guessed because we already have Yggdrasil Path on the other side here. One of the decider maps. Because remember, in Convoy, we pick one, we ban one, then there's gonna be a decider map. And you can see it down at the bottom here on my side. Yeah, down at the bottom, there's already a pick here. It's gonna be Yggdrasil Path for another Convoy map, which is gonna be on game 4.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Isn't that the what you have in the background? Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's exactly it. This one in the background. But they banned Royal Palace. Ah,
This
man,
is
that's sad.
this is the place that you want, wasn't?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. They don't want that. They don't want to fight that. And I believe the Royal Palace is the place with a lot of destructible walls, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Everybody hates that map.
There's just a lot of verticality as well. Into consideration, which is really, really annoying.
Yeah, there's an upper and lower part, especially for Odin's Archive. That's the most annoying map in Domination. But Hell's Heaven, I think, is way better because it's much more linear. There's less high ground that you have to worry here because the most of the points in this map do have high grounds, but it's all on the side, which is honestly okay.
Yeah, for sure. And I think coming down to Marvel Rivals, the verticality is quite significant into
Yeah.
consideration as well. Those plays from the skies coming down into a potential engage and potential setup. Those things are quite important
Ooh.
and significant coming down into these games. But Convergence map
Yeah,
already
but
decided.
I think this is what the map that people love, especially for convergence, because Shin Shibuya, kind of hard to push the first point. Symbiotic Surface is also very hard to push. Hall of Jalia has a lot more leeways for you
Mhm.
to get inside the spot, inside the first point, which is why people decide to go for this, which is I kind of like. I like Hall of Jalia too. So I want to know who's gonna be having the advantages here from this maps, especially for the first one here, Infinity. We do have Thunder Defiant going
Yeah.
in for that Spider Islands, and we're gonna go for that on game one, which is gonna be scary.
It definitely is, right? Considering with what we have discussed a while ago, the span of time between these two teams to be able to improve in terms of the game, surely these players and these teams have coordinated well enough coming down into this, and expectedly it would be quite a marathon of a series that we have on our hands.
Oh yeah, and with what we've seen here from our teams, I want to talk about the meta here right now, Infinity. I think
Mhm.
we have talked about it off camera a while ago, but
Yeah.
what I love about the recent patch is how it doesn't really, what do you call this? It doesn't really change much, except for the Vanguard side where Doctor Strange has been nerfed.
Mhm.
So this is gonna be way harder because people are gonna be forced to pick Magneto now.
Yeah.
I mean, Magneto has always been good, but Doctor Strange getting nerfed 3 times in a row just means that the developers don't want to see him anymore.
Yeah. I think it's
Yeah,
just the versatility of a Doctor Strange, right? You have the
he's just too
teleport.
strong. Yeah,
Yeah, you have the teleports for those clutch moves, the Eye of Agamotto for those setups. There's just a lot of varied things to expect when you have the Doctor Strange. And even in the
yeah.
championship, right? We had been seeing a lot of these Vanguard combos of having the Magneto and alongside with the Doctor Strange with those double shields, with those double barriers. That's quite hefty to deal with, and actually
Yeah.
quite obnoxious to deal with in the game.
Yeah, especially for this one specifically. But I think there's a lot of openings here for other vanguards to actually shine. Having the Magneto together with the Thing could be
Hmm.
good. I wanted to talk about Emma Frost, but we're not gonna be having Emma Frost here.
Yep.
But Emma Frost could actually be a second off tank that
Mm.
everybody could go for. If we're not going for dive, I think Emma Frost is also a solid option.
Yeah, for sure. I think that would be a an option for a lot of these people. But I want to touch point onto what you have mentioned about the Thing. I think Thing is just really, really good because the thing is
Yeah.
like from the championship, we were seeing a lot of these Magneto Doctor Strange combo. But
Yeah.
alternative is if they went in for the likes of a triple Vanguard, as we have seen a couple of times in the championship, the Thing would also come into play with the likes of the Groot as well into consideration on
Yeah.
some occasions. So the
I
thing is
think
just being
yeah.
unmovable. Like you
Yeah.
can't just bring him down
Yeah.
with those crowd controls and utilities. It's just an annoying
Yeah.
Vanguard to really be batting up against.
Yeah, I think the Thing being released just shows you what the developers want, right? Because
Mhm.
it's looking like they're favoring divers this point. Because the
Yeah.
Thing being released just shows you that the developers don't want the shields because his haymaker, his right click, passes through shields,
Mhm.
which is why it's a very strong counter to the Doctor Strange to the Magneto combo because he can actually punch you out of those shields.
Yeah, for sure. And another thing as well into consideration
Hey,
for
shout out to
Thing.
the teams.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We're looking at these teams quite
Wait,
ready
I
as
know that
well.
guy.
Who's that guy? There's a lot of guys.
Wait,
There's a lot of guys, dudes.
wait. I know. Wait, I know
Okay.
some people here. Wait, okay, that's interesting.
Process.
I want to see them later. Once we're in game, I will see them later. So let's see you
Yeah.
later. But again, this is interesting because the new patch is here, but we don't have the Emma Frost, right? But
Mhm.
for sure, all of the heroes that we have been nerfed, have been buffed. So
Mhm.
we're gonna be seeing how they flex onto this new patch.
Yeah, a couple of changes, a couple of tweaks with the heroes as well. I've been reading the patch notes, since it's quite big, it's quite massive a while ago. And I think Wolverine is one of that aspects that has been tweaked and changed a bit in terms of the interactions with other heroes. I think that's one of the perspectives as well. We've seen Wolverine in some occasions in the competitive scene. I've seen it in NA Championship. So that's also one of the things into consideration here. But I think there's just a lot of aspects to think about in terms of the compositions. You have the
Yep.
triple vanguard, you have the triple strategist, you have like the balance 2-2-2 type of compositions as well to be
Yeah.
played out. So it's really dependent on these teams on how they're going to really pivot themselves onto their winning condition.
Yeah, I also want to know if they're going to be picking Rocket Raccoon because Raccoon had a big change during the recent patch. Remember,
Mhm.
he had a very I think his ult has been buffed pretty well. So this gives more options for our players to pick what they want now. Rocket Raccoon being a bit more viable just changes the game for me.
It definitely does, and I believe one of the aspects as well, if we're talking about these Rocket Raccoon, it was priorly like sort of a pocket pick. Right, we've seen Shroud decks coming from NA Championship pick it up time and time again as sort of
Yeah.
a combo composition to be
Yeah,
utilized by the
yeah,
team.
for Punisher. I think that's the
Mhm.
most of the reason why people pick
Yeah,
Raccoon during the last patch, especially for Marvel Rivals Championship. It's just because they want to play Punisher or Winter Soldier. But
yeah,
now you have more reasons to pick him. He gives bonus health, like Mantis ult. So that is
mhm,
actually a good way to counter some of the ultimates that capped onto the 250 to 350 damage. So I
mhm.
think you could survive more ultimates with those.
Yeah, and I think in consideration as well in the prior, at least in the beginning of Marvel Arrivals, right, Rocket Raccoon hadn't really been such a significant healer as a support. Right, as a strategy, it's
Yeah,
more of like utility, giving on the ammos, as well as those combo compositions, as we have mentioned and discussed prior.
yeah.
It's just something that
His
was
ult is
kind
just
of,
bad.
yeah, it was kind of hindering Rocket Raccoon. So I love the changes.
Yeah,
I definitely do
yeah.
love it and welcome it.
His ult is just bad. That's the reason why. I think it's not
Mhm.
more on his ult being bad. It's just that the other ultimates are just way better because you
Yes,
have Sue Storm's ultimate, Luna
Luna Snow
Snow's
as
ultimate,
well. Yeah.
Loki. There's a lot of big ultimates that really overshadows what Rocket Raccoon could deliver with a 40% damage. Considering that the damage is actually a good utility to use,
Mhm.
it's not easy to use it compared to one button, everybody survives.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, especially considering how these all in compositions have been quite popular in the competitive scene, just having the likes of Luna Snow gives you such a massive advantage as well onto just picking up dance dance along those team fights and going for those all ins. And if you want to have kind of a settle back, you also have the likes of Loki with those crystals to just extra sustain your team alongside those team fights. So it's really really important for those sustain. So we'll see if the likes of Rocket Raccoon this time around can see the light of day.
Yeah, I would want to see how the other picks are gonna be coming in because during the recent MRC, we can also talk about it, is how El Hela, Star-Lord, and Winter Soldier
Oh yeah.
just has been at the top. It's also because Storm also almost always gets banned. That's
Mhm.
why Storm is not there. But the other
Yeah.
three, they're actually really good. They're still very strong. Mr. Fantastic has been buffed on the recent patch, but I don't know if this makes him viable for the competitive setting.
For sure. And I think coming down into like this duelist, the main role that they would play is really just to decimate those backlines, to wait for
Yeah.
those flanks, especially with Hela. Just being on the off angle and sniping your opponents from far away would definitely give you an upper edge on having the numbers advantage, having that numbers game in their favor. And I think for now, those role, or at least these players going in with a duelist role, will have such a pivotal importance and objective in these games.
Yeah, it's gonna be very hard. It's gonna be very fun to see if ever these teams are gonna be experimenting onto the new patch, or they would want to pull out some pocket picks that they really play a lot. Because that could be something that we could talk about later on. But now we're already in the picks and bans here, Infinity. This is gonna be very fun. We have 3 bans and 2 saves.
Yeah.
This is nice.
Yeah, it's insane. Because the thing is, like, coming down to MRC, I believe you only have 2 bans and 1 save.
Yeah, yeah.
This is kind of insane to just have one more ban in addition to that. But I'm seeing with that Adam Warlock, we have seen quite a bit in MRC of having specific hero, and I think it has just that power to turn the tides in your favor because of that longevity of those team fights.
Uh, I
Potential.
re- what I really love about this though is the bans that they do have here because they banned the Rocket Raccoon, they banned the Cloak and Dagger, which
Yeah.
is very interesting to me. That just means they're very afraid of the Rocket Raccoon changes that we had recently, and Cloak and Dagger just upped here. It's because of the buff that she had. She had another with the 4 strips that she had, the
Mhm.
ultimate would just expire after the last strip. So this could actually be the reason why they banned it. Hulk getting banned, honestly, very well deserved because the team up with Namor is just crazy today.
Yeah, 100%. And I think looking at this, we're seeing a lot of these strategists being banned away, and this kind of limits quite a bit on how these players are going to utilize these strategies, utilize these compositions. But we're down, or we're done with the saves and bans, and I'm really excited to see what compositions are going to make it for
Yeah.
game one.
It's gonna be Invisible Woman together with the Loki for sure here. Because Odyssey Infinity, they're just a pocket duo at this point. If it's not gonna be Luna Snow Loki, it's gonna be Invisible Woman, then Loki. Because they are actually good strategists at this point. But there's a lot of strategists band that we've seen here, right? Infinity, which is really fun to see. And that's why Storm is available in this game.
Yeah, and I don't know. This is going to be exciting. This is going to be fun. We're already in to game number one, and some of our expectations are actually coming to life. Right, we have the likes of Groot and Magneto as kind of the frontliners for both sides.
Yeah, especially for the first point here. Thank you very much, production, for this view. Because with this view, with what we're seeing right now, this is gonna be a very hard point to push, right? Because you have a lot of choke points that you need to cover. You have a lot of choke points that you need to fight against. But for now, with what we've had here for the teams, it's gonna be very exciting how they push the first 2 choke points that we have on checkpoint
Mhm.
number 1.
Yeah, for sure. But it's quite surprising, right? A lot of these, I think the only similarities between these two teams would be are kind of like those frontliners, those vanguards having Groot and even the Magneto in their front line, which is expected. But something of like an unexpected thing would not have the thing into this
Yeah.
composition. But from what we have discussed, right, before the show, before the stream have started, like Groot is also one of those big considerations as a vanguard.
Yeah, and for this one though, what we do have here for the team is how I think it's the reason why they went in for the Groot and the Magneto here for the first 2 points is because of how they can. There's a lot of narrow angles. There's a lot of narrow streets in this first point, which is why you can get away with a Groot. You can choke a lot of the vanguards to not get the healing that they deserve, especially for those points.
Hmm. Yeah, and you can just pretty much manipulate the what do you call this? The environment, if you may.
Yeah,
You can
yeah,
just
yeah.
you can have kind of like a filler or a choke points to be made onto your team. And yes, it's destructible, but the thing is like Groot can have that massive impact if you really want to change things up.
Yeah, and very excited to see how they're gonna be doing that for now. But we're
Mhm.
just waiting for them to actually get there in our game.